Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Spark Faith podcast. And I have to take just a moment before we get going to thank Jill over at Jeans and a Cute Top Shop for this adorable little number. And just a shout out to her for the thank you. And she's an amazing woman all on her own. And maybe we'll have her on the show someday. Today, I have Kay Neyland on, and she, I say this every time, like I I am so blessed to have such great ladies in my life. And so, Kay, tell us your story, tell us who you are, tell us what you do. I'm
Sure.
so happy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, first I want to say thank you, Chris. I admire you. I follow you. And you are doing so much to help people, not only with their bodies and health, but their inner spirit. And that's a much needed combination these days. So thank you.
Thanks.
You
Thanks.
inspire
Yeah.
me.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, my name is Kay Neyland, and I am a certified international health coach. And my wellness practice is MK Shine, because MaryKay, MK, and I help people, mostly women, shine in their health and their life. Okay, so my story, which is brief, in my earlier days, I was always fascinated by health sciences. Like, how does protein help the body? What is food safe? What's the chemicals in food? And we're going back to junior high. I had this interest. Fast forward to college, I developed an eating issue, emotional eating problem. And some of you may relate, but I couldn't stop eating. It would start at around dinner time and would go until I fell asleep. And I couldn't even sense full anymore. I mean, my brain, now I know why. I understand how the brain works. But there was a trigger that was wrong, messed up. And I didn't realize how much stress had to do with that. And emotional disturbances in the force in me. And so I gained quite a bit of weight and was miserable. Start every day thinking today's going to be different. By dinner time, down the slippery slope I fell. This went on for a long time. And I became my own health advocate. I started doing more research on nutrition, and I knew my problem was deeper than that. I tried every diet, even just eating pineapple for a week. So I tried all.
It's okay. I did grapefruit, whatever.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I tried the popcorn diet, which I sort of made up. So anyway, of course, you gain all your weight back. Fast forward then to me understanding more the deeper issues. And here's something that I did that was, I thought it myself. Well, in a conversation with someone, this came up, just a friendly conversation. When do you do this eating? I never see you, MaryKay, eat like this. I go, well, obviously when I'm alone.
Right?
Therein lied my problem. So if I was alone, I would just call. There was no texting. I would just call a friend and just say, I'm alone and I'm feeling down. Ask me what I ate in the morning. Just that accountability. I started looking into how to balance my plate. And from there, I sprung into what I really believe and how I build my practice today, the essentials to be able to overcome those kind of eating issues, how to eat healthy and deal with the inner stress or emotional stress, which I had so much of. So that's how that happened. Then I did some more study, and about 5 years ago, made the switch from helping women in their spiritual life, which was also a passion, to becoming a full-time health coach. So I'm living my dream, I'm living my passion, and I'm helping others from pretty much my own experience and what I've been through.
Wow, I love that. So, was there a moment in time where you're sitting in your room and you've got bags of popcorn or whatever your binge foods were sitting around you, and you realize, like, wow, this just really isn't working? Was there a trigger? Did something happen in your world that made you make that mindset shift? Because something Like we don't wake up one day and go, okay, today's the day, because today's the day is that slippery slope, right? So tell me, like, I want to dig in to those moments or days or weeks um, where you made that decision, because I think that a lot of times stories get told that it's like the Apple story, right? They started in the garage and now they're worth billions, but we missed
Oh,
the messy middle, right? So I
right.
want to talk about the messy middle pieces.
Let's do it. Okay. So I think what I remember the most is how horrible I felt getting up in the morning after, and it wasn't popcorn. It was ice cream, candy, M&Ms, donuts, pretty much hitting vending machines, pizza, probably some of
Okay.
the worst foods you can
Really
have.
junking it up, man. All of it.
Really, really bad.
Okay.
Okay. And so I would wake
So
up
you're
and
pretty young and you're feeling really crappy in the morning.
exactly felt horrible, horrible.
Okay.
So first of all, every morning was to me the day. Okay. This is the day. And I like to run at that point in my life. So I'd get out in the morning, run 3 miles, maybe more. I had that thing called when you have that extra wind, or I forget what it's called, where you could just run, and
Get
you
your second wind.
second wind. And I got that a few times. And I mean, I don't know how far I ran. I just wouldn't stop. So I truly felt that was it. I think and then I tried so many diets. So what finally happened is I came to the understanding in my own heart and soul that diets don't work. I think that's what woke me up. It was diets are not working for me. I'm going to have to make a major life shift. Am I ready? And it's funny for me, and maybe this is how other people feel. Just coming to that conclusion meant I was ready.
Yeah.
Because earlier it was today's going to be different. I'm going to eat well. I'm not going to eat donuts after dinner. I'm not going to have the 3 desserts. I was in a sorority. I could eat as many desserts as I wanted. No limit. That did not help when I was in college.
Right.
So I basically came, and the way this journey started was sitting in a class in my sophomore year, and first time in my life, it hit me, I'm going to fail this course. I truly didn't get what the professor was talking about. It was like speaking another language, and it had to do with my major, and my life crushed down on me. And I thought, I can't major in this anymore, and I'm going to fail the course. I've got to get out of here. And in front of me, I had a little packet of peanut M&Ms. I like to snack on those now and then. I started eating them, and suddenly it seemed to connect with this feeling, this M&M plugged into this feeling of, and I remember vividly, I remember it, of complete shattered dreams. And it became the connection for the next few years of my life, and couldn't break it. So yes, there was a moment when I realized I have to have a life shift, and what I'm connecting to
Those emotions
me.
and thoughts and feelings instead of the bag of M&Ms or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So did
Yeah.
that answer your question?
Yes, it did. And I think, for everyone who's listening, like maybe you've had those moments, right? Maybe people have had those moments and they don't really know what to do with them. And so when you have those moments and you don't know what to do next, maybe you're not really into health. Maybe you really don't know where to start. Like that's what MaryKay does. That's what I do. We help you down that road, right? To get you to that space where the motivation isn't the outside, right? Like you said, this is an inside job. I love that. Where was your faith at that time?
I was new to my faith, to
Okay.
be honest, brand
Okay.
new. I'd grown up a believer in some fundamental truths, but I had really taken the time to study out and get on track spiritually. So I was new, and it was a big world for me, learning how to grow deeper, go deeper with God, connect deeper with Jesus. So many things were happening in my life at the exact same time. And it was very hard for me because I felt like I just couldn't do it all. I mean, just to be very honest,
Sure.
I felt out of control, completely out of control. And this was probably a good thing to support me, but I had not yet learned in my faith how to plug that kind of faith into these moments all my life. I'd never done that. So this was new for me. I didn't know how to do it. So I didn't do it, though I had faith. Well, let's put it this way. I had deeper spirituality and deeper faith, but it hadn't become practical for me yet. I just knew it was my anchor.
Yes.
But,
yes.
Yes.
Yes. I so get that. Because I think that's part of the journey anyway, right? Is allowing, the more we allow God into all the parts, the more we actually get to know him, right? Like the more messy that we show up with in front of him, the more he can dig in and fix it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I liken it to going to the dentist. Like he can drill into those heart spaces, right? That are like, I'm not good enough, I'm failing, my dreams are shattered, like all of those places. But we have to allow that instead of being like, oh, let me get all my ducks in a row and then I'll come and talk to you.
Right.
Do you find that that's also true with clients? I'm going to take a little.
Oh, yeah. You mean as far as knowing how to where to go for their
That, and like they want to show up at your doorstep with it all put together.
Okay, so yes, I love
particularly with particularly clients, and I know y'all know I love all of you, right? So but y'all who like you've been in my office before and then you fall off the wagon and then you're like, and I'll reach out to you like, well, I've got a couple things I need to do and then I'll come and see you. Like, no, this is probably when you really need to come and see me, right?
Yes. Okay, so here's the clients, what you're talking about, springboard from that, Chris, is the person who shows up and they know it's not going well. And so they try to tell me what I should do to help them, but it's not really it's like, it's a little buffer. It's a little bit of, and I'm like, okay, so you're going to have to let go and trust. Who are you going to trust? You're going to have to just let go of the reins. It's not working for you. Trust, sit back and let me help you. At the same time, they have to release a lot of their guarded truth about themselves. Yeah. So it's exactly what you're saying. And I also think the other opposite is the disappearing, vanishing act, right? It's
ghosting.
It's like, I'm not doing good enough to get your help. It's like, well, that's why I'm here. I mean, what does that mean? I felt like I couldn't see you. I'm like, I don't. And I do think that is such a great lesson in groups and in coaching, is that you bring your authentic self. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it's authentic. Bring your authentic self, and there's hope there. It's like I said earlier, when I finally came to the conclusion that I needed a shift, I needed to change the way I'm making all these connections and the way I'm dealing with my life. When I was ready to do that, it's called being authentic, and I had to admit it. I am out of control. I'm eating out of control. Like I always say, eating like a banshee screams, but just big. I had to be able to humbly say that, show up in that space of complete and utter, what I considered embarrassment and shame, but really truth and authenticity. And then I can get help. And that's what I really want for people who reach out, like to you or to me. That's a person who's going to make strides.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Being coachable.
Yes.
Right. Being coachable. I just wrote, like, I have patients who are like, well, I didn't really want to come back because I thought you'd be disappointed in me.
Yes.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
I know.
I am so not here to judge anyone, right? Like, I have my own stuff, and anybody who's listened to a couple of my first podcasts know, right? Like, I have been through the ringer to take the mask off and just be me and show up in all of my failing glory and messy, right? That's why we're here to talk about the messy.
Right.
And like I could never be disappointed in a client or my kids, right? Like I mean, we're just not. We're just not.
No, not at all. And that's
Never.
exactly
Mm-mm.
true.
Yeah, we're not. Do you feel like I was just listening to, and I'm going to ask you as a coach to a coach, right?
Yeah.
So, do you feel like at this juncture in time that people, and I'm not just talking about COVID, just in general, um, that people really are averse to the hard? Like, oh, it's hard. I don't want to go gluten free. I don't want, it's hard. You can't take my, it's hard. You can't take that away from me. It's hard, right? Or, oh, well, it's raining. Like this morning it was raining. It's cold. Like all the things, right? In Chicago, no one is ever happy with the weather, right? Like it's too hot. I can't go out there and walk. It's too cold. I can't go out there. It's hilarious to me. Feel like, and so I am now like touching people's eyeball with a piece of cotton, right? I think people have an aversion to hard.
It's true.
They're a little soft.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think that it's their coping. I think what we're in a time when people are coming up with coping mechanisms. So you're right. Don't take that from me. Don't take ever seen a child have a tantrum when you take their blanket or their toy? Exactly. But this is different. This isn't just a blanket or a toy that's comforting. This is hurting our bodies, hurting our souls, some of these things that have been brought in as coping. So to take that away means I'm exposed and I have nowhere to go. Well, that's why as coaches, we help people fill in that empty spot with something good that also brings the same comfort, but doesn't have destruction hooked onto it. So you're right. It could be adding something, like you said, moving, getting outside. It could be taking something away that is a unhealthy craving that's hurting. Actually, those things actually backfire, and then you need more coping skills, and then you go sink deeper. So what better solution is there than a cheerleader, a coach, someone in your corner, helping with this kind of changes, decisions, and to come out of it going, hey, I'm happy with this instead of that. This works just as well. And I feel that I look better.
And you feel great in the morning.
And you feel great in the morning.
That's awesome. So what has your faith looked? I'm going to shift gears a little bit. What has your faith looked like through COVID, and what in your life what has changed in your life? I know for me, it took out a lot of destructive distractions for me.
Okay.
And I did a live on that not too long ago, but I realized like, woo, I'm still wrapped up in this and wrapped up in that. And, mine was shopping or, just anything that I could do to distract from actually doing what God wanted me to do. And everybody who's listening, I ran away from this space right here of speaking for God and because of him for 12 years. And so it took a worldwide pandemic for me to listen. So what's changed in your world? Like, okay, I'm sorry. It had to be this extreme.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, first of all, I made a major move across the country right in the middle of this year from California to Florida.
Amazing.
A jolt along with everything else going on out there. And the cool thing is I started this year with the word believe. I like to pick a word every year. And so I was hit in the face with the reality. What do I believe? And am I going to hold on to and believe that good things, believe in God's sovereignty? Can I do that when I feel like I want to grasp? And so, yeah, I think the big challenge was calming my soul and through holding on to that, truly, because I just felt very unsettled emotionally in this move, just because I left, been there for 30 years. Okay, need I say more?
Yeah. I'm getting ready to move too after being here for 30.
There it is. So I couldn't really tell you, I couldn't tell. I would say, what's wrong with me? Because I wasn't really sure what was bringing the turmoil. Is it the move? Is it the everything going on out there in the world? Because that's awful. And then, what is it? I don't know. I think it's a mix. And so for me, I think that has been a real challenge to find peace. So what you said, what good has come out of it? More time just to sit, reflect, think, meditate, journal, and then study out my word believe through the scriptures, and then write down everything I can find that has to do with why I should believe, the promises. And I'm telling you, it's really helped me tremendously. It doesn't mean that I'm fine, everything's great. It just means that I'm directed, and I feel like I'm able to hang on.
Grounded.
Pardon?
Grounded.
Grounded. Yeah, I think that's it. So I think that's helped me be more grounded. Still feel the ground is a little shaky, but at the same time, I do feel like I know where to go, and I have a good sense of what I'm trying to achieve and accomplish through this time. It's a work in progress.
That's awesome. Well, California to Florida isn't like that feels good in terms of like at least weather is similar. Actually, probably warmer in Florida, depending on where you're.
You sweat in Florida and you evaporate in California.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So you have had the same thing, right? Like the things cleared off your plate so that you could start seeing more.
Yes. Yeah, I would say that I've been able to read a lot of good books this year. I have more time to read. I've taken advantage of that to grow. Books to help me grow in my faith. I've never had so much time, just solitude. I'm a people person. I'm a doer. I've had my routine. I get up, I blah, blah, blah. Now it's like when I am alone, I am using this time to grow, to reach out, to build some new friendships, to really just sit and be. That's very hard for me. Sit and just be. And I sit outside on my little deck. I have a beautiful marsh back there. It's a small dwelling, but we got a marsh back there, beautiful oak. And in the morning, I'm there about an hour. Yeah. I just sit there and I think, I meditate, I get in touch, I pray, and when I pray, I bring God and I attach, I cling. I don't know what else word to use. That's what I do. And I do think that is because of, well, we don't want to really say COVID is necessarily a reason, but it has brought us home more, has isolated us more. So what do I do with my isolation? I could binge watch a lot of stuff that I like on TV. However, this fills my soul and I like the way I feel. And it really has helped me lift my eyes. And I do think it's helped me in my business even to have a clearer, more clarity in what I'm doing to help other people by helping myself and, growing in this way. It's opened my eyes on how to help people better. So, that's what I would say.
I love that. I really do. I feel the same way. Like it's cleared the distraction. So like cleared out all the noise in your life, right? All that stuff that you thought mattered. Yes. Maybe it doesn't really matter so much anymore, but the quiet time in the morning matters so much.
That's
so much. So, okay. So you're a driver, move it, shake it, right? That kind of personality. And of course, we probably also I'm also the same, right? We attract that kind of personality. Yeah. How do you tell your drivers that they have to slow down?
Oh my goodness. Isn't that
Yeah, right. I'll let you know when I can get to that.
Yeah, I
Like
think
it's
if you
a
use the terms
checklist.
you calm down or slow down, it actually has the opposite effect, right?
Right, exactly.
Got to trick them a little bit by so I like to help people discover through I try to teach that if you sit and be still, you discover more about yourself than when you're doing. So we carve out time for people to do that, but they have a purpose. Like for instance, to give you an example on that, a lot of doers don't like to do that. They don't want to sit and think because their mind flies. Or even prayer becomes a challenge because they drift. Or so I say, okay, get yourself, I don't have it with me, get yourself a little notebook, put it right there in front of you. There it is. So
Always have one.
when you're in your moment, because we do this every day, write down your thoughts. So for instance, you're not really guiding your journal, and because okay, now I have to write things about myself, because people just won't do it. But just think about how you're doing, and then write down what pops into your head, like I feel happy about this, I feel sad about this. Just let your being tell you, communicate with you, and write it down. Learn about yourself. It's learning about yourself. And then what can you give to God there? That's it. And then do it. Give it to God. And to me, it helps people, because to slow down means really, for some people, it just means, what do I do? Sit around? What do I do? Slow down, not go to the appointment, not do the grocery shopping. It's like, no, what you do in that moment. So I do a lot of self-awareness, learning your stressors, and that takes self-awareness, and then learning to just be and give it to God, and then get up at peace, finding peace a little bit every day. So
Yeah, 5-10 minutes is where to start, right? Just a few minutes, even if you just turn off the radio while you drive to the grocery store.
yes,
Like that can be silence, that can be
yes,
still for those of us who are like on high gear all the time. Yeah, that's we work very similarly. I tell clients like do a brain dump. Whatever's in your brain, get it on paper. Dump it
Woo!
out. Just oof,
Like,
dump it out. And it works really good for those people who don't sleep well, right? Do it right before you go to bed. Just whatever's spinning
oh,
in your head, get it on a piece of paper.
I like that.
Then you're not like spinning about it all the time. Or if you wake up in the morning and you've got this thing, just write your list out. It doesn't mean you have to do it all. Just get it out of your head, right? Then your brain has place to kind of go with that.
Yes.
It's like a coat closet. Now that doesn't make sense to somebody who's in Florida, but here we have a coat closet when you walk in from the garage, right? It's full of coats, and not hanging up, right? They're hooks. This whole closet full of hooks, and you've got a pile of coats on the floor. Those are all your thoughts. So you pick up the coats and you put them on a hook, and that's like getting them out of your head, right? They've got a place to go. But when we don't get them out of our head, they just look at like this giant pile. And when things get overwhelming, it's like all your coat hooks are full and you have a pile. So if you can just start taking and doing one or two things out, and then you can start hanging those coats back up, it makes your life in your head a lot more organized.
Great picture, mind picture. I like that.
So yeah, that's it's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to, one of the things that we talk about, yes, the messy middle of, like for you, the messy middle was I'm sitting in class and I realized that I'm eating M&Ms instead of, it's my shattered dreams, right? Like that's messy when you realize, and then you do that for 3 or 4 years, like you realize like, oh, that's a lot, right? And
Yeah.
people can take that failure and they can learn from it, right? And so you've taken your knowledge to learn from it. And if someone saw you on the street, MaryKay, they would go, man, I bet she's got it all together. She's got it all going on. She's beautiful. She dresses well. Her hair's all like, I could never be her friend. She and I could never, because she's got it too much together and I don't. So just give us a hint about the spaces where you might not have it all together.
Might not have it all together. I think that, it's funny. Having it all together to me is a term we use because of what we see. We sum up a person with what we see. And there's an inside to that human being. And for me, I would say that, especially lately, just a feeling of loneliness, a feeling of fear and worry. I have, I'm married with 3 kids, but I also have 3 grandchildren, and I don't live near any of them. I'm sad about that. I'm open to friendship. You know what I mean? Kindness, because I feel like I'll come home. Okay, so this is a fact. All right, here's a fact for you. Since I moved, and I'm waiting to post on Facebook, today I didn't cry. First time since I've moved. That hasn't happened yet, even today. So I'm gonna cry right now.
That's okay.
I got some news, from a relative today, and it was kind of sad. And so I guess I feel like okay. So we have this beautiful eagle's nest out front, across,
oh my God, it's so cool.
across our street, and it's in the midst of this housing community, and they weren't allowed to touch this land. Okay, so where am I going with this? So I've decided I'm the keeper of the eagles. I'm watching over them, and then I was horrified the other day because this is just telling you where I'm at right now. I was horrified the other day because I realized the pine trees are dying in that area because, when builders build, it changes topography, the water levels come up, it's kind of flooding a little bit that area with the tides in Florida, inland. And I was thinking, the limbs are falling. Oh my gosh, what if the limbs fall and the nest falls? And I just burst into tears.
Oh no.
I know. I'm just at a place right now where I'm not as happy. I'm a joyful person, meaning I exude positivity and I like to bring energy. It's just how I'm built. It's not work for me. At the same time, I have some, the undercurrent. You can't see it when you look. The undercurrent in me is a lot of sadness. And I do have worry, which I have to work on, and not worry. The eagles fall, worry about this news I just got. I didn't get to see my dad before he died with COVID. He didn't have COVID, but COVID kept me from seeing him. So I just feel, I don't have it all together. I don't know how to fix all this. I don't know how to just, be miss everything's going to be fine kind of person. I do believe in God, but at the same time, I see stuff. I see stuff and I hear stuff and I feel stuff and it hits me like a ton of bricks and it blindsides me and knocks me down. And so I have to, just grab, I feel like I do a lot of grabbing myself and pulling myself up. So that's kind of how I have felt.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing, because I think that people don't see our vulnerable sides.
Yeah.
Right? We don't always share that because we have either something in our head says, "Oh, nobody wants to see that," or "I don't want to appear pitiful," or
Yeah.
"I don't want my clients to see me being weak," or whatever, right? Like, we tell ourselves all these crazy stories, and they're the same crazy stories that our clients tell us. Right? So, like, a couple words for you, if I may.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, like, the keeper of the eagle, I think that that's beautiful. And yet in scripture, it says that we fly on eagle's wings. So it's really about God coming in and swooping, and he's there watching over you. So you think you can keep those eagles.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
One of my favorite, okay, and here's the geek in me, right? In Lord of the Rings, there's a scene, it's one of the very last scenes, and I don't remember which one of the trilogy it's in, but really, Frodo it's at the end, he's about to just like, he thinks, he and his friend they're like, they're gonna die, but then these giant eagles come in, and they end up flying off on the eagles. And I think that picture for you, like, I don't know if that helps you feel like more protected, but that's huge, I think. And crying out, right? We all have to cry out. Proverbs 2 says, cry out. It's okay. Think about Job crying out. Think about Jonah in the belly. Jonah's one of my favorite characters. I love Jonah, mostly because I ran from God for 12 years. But, and I'm pretty sure he also had me in the belly of a whale. But like the whole second chapter of Jonah is him crying out. So like, I think, like, ladies and gentlemen and everyone who's listening, it's okay to cry out. It's okay to be in despair. It's okay to have all those feelings. And the cool part is you're here with me today. So like, you're also moving forward.
Yes.
Right? You have this beautiful business still. MK Shine. You and I did an event earlier in June together, which was so much fun. And we're about to do another one on November 7th. And this is kind of the first week. So anyway, so tell us what you're going to talk about a little bit, because I think that this is so cool of you coming from this place of feeling a little distressed, and yet you're going to talk about
de-stressing from distress.
It's beautiful. That's so, like, we teach what we are going through and what we are learning.
Yes, that's exactly right.
The failures, the sadness, like all of those pieces are what our experiences serve others. So go ahead. I'll shut up now.
Yeah, no, I love hearing from you. Yes, I love the eagles. I feel lifted. The eagles carry them away. I feel lifted by the eagles. I'm gonna imagine lifted by the eagles. So I'm super excited to be able to share with you in podcast. And yes, I'll be talking about de-stressing from distress. And I do believe that stress, and it's not just stress, but the way the body works emotionally together with stress and the effects that it can have on the body are pretty magnanimous. I mean, it's not something you want to just brush over. And I would say most women, high percentage of women, more than men even, deal with distress in the body. And sometimes don't even know it's happening. So we're going to be talking about stressors. What are those things? How and what can we do about it? And solutions, even how the hormones in the body, we're not going to go over we're not doing a science class, but
this is going to be fun.
There's just some basic truths about how a female's body reacts to stress hormonally. So we're going to talk a lot about that, and then solutions. So it'll be short, but it'll be packed, but helpful to each person who listens.
What do you think and I'm just going to throw this out there, and if I don't know is the answer, it's fine. What do you think are some of the things that people don't recognize as stress? What do you think that when people feel X, they're actually feeling stress? Right. And they don't put it together.
Right. I think when people are in relationship turmoil, they don't realize their body's cranking out stress hormones. They just think that they've got a relationship problem, and sometimes they're ongoing issues. It's not like a problem just today. This is ongoing relationship, maybe a job. People feel deadlines or pressure or feel like they're unfairly treated. I think there's one, or there's,
that's huge right now, right?
Yeah, unfairly treated, and look at that work situation as, I don't think they're always saying stress. It's more, this is unlivable, this isn't fair, this is wrong. We use words to label it, releases the same stress hormones.
Right.
And so, and I do think also just, I'm busy. There are a lot of people who are not sitting home, taking time to take an hour a day to meditate. And
Right.
some people are crazier, busier now than before. Maybe all the kids are home, right? That'll do it.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine all these people with little kids right
And
now.
homeschooling. Oh my goodness. Or trying to force their kids to sit in front of a computer. So now
No, there would be 2 less children on the planet if I had to do that. Kidding.
so anyway, just busy. I'm busy. I think sometimes people don't understand that kind of busyness cranks out the same stress hormones. All of that has the same effect of just going, I'm stressed out. A lot of people don't know where to attribute stressed out to, when it's pretty much anytime we're doing something that it's more than we can handle or bear.
So I also believe that like what we eat can be stressful. Like all the stress that you were putting into your body when you were eating donuts and cake and pizza and all that stuff, like that's a stressor for us. When we don't sleep, that's a stressor. People don't see those as stressors. They could have like, oh, I make $1 bazillion. I have a perfect marriage. My kids are great. Like they could have it all together. However, they're eating pizza and donuts and they don't realize that that kind of stress can also cause just as much turmoil as any other kind of stressor. I think people also don't realize the symptoms that they might have, like digestive symptoms. A lot of people don't put their digestion and their mental and emotional stress together.
Right.
They don't realize that we don't digest well when we are under stress. We just don't. Our body is not designed that way. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. I really, I love your insight. And of course, we have very similar philosophies about health, and that just makes this all flow so well. So you said that you are you've read a bunch of books, got a couple favorites?
Yeah, I do. I love this book called Whisper, How to Hear the Voice of God.
Ooh, that sounds great.
And honestly, it opened my eyes to being aware of the way God communicates with us throughout the day that I just wasn't tuned into. It brings his presence more close to my heart. I wrote a couple down just the other day. Here they are. Mark Batterson, Every Good Endeavor. I love that book by Timothy Keller. Timothy Keller is one of my favorite authors. He writes from a spiritual point of view, and yet he also does such a profound job at explaining normal stuff. Like, for instance, how should we feel about our work? How does God fit in that? What is a worldview? What is my worldview? And how do I bring that into my work to live my purpose so I can love my job? That book just changed the way I just saw what I do, and just lifted it up and made me feel so valued. And then, there's a bunch of them. The Power of a Woman's Words. The author's last name is Janes. I think it's Sharon, Janes. So those are just some of the books. And, the last thing I would say is, I read the Harry Potter series at night before bed because I don't want to learn. I do not want anything deep. I have a bedtime ritual. I get good sleep. I train myself through the years. And that Harry Potter series, it probably takes me 3 years to get through the whole thing because I get to bed and I'm tired. I start reading maybe 4 or 5 pages in. I'm like, okay, that's it. I got to go to sleep. But, I learned some healthy ways to sleep better, but that is how I end my day. So I'm going to throw the Harry Potter series in there. I love it.
I love
I haven't even
that.
seen the movies. I'm afraid it's going to ruin it because the book's so good.
Yeah, the books are really good. Yeah, I am a Gilmore Girls fan right now.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I never watched it originally, and my daughter brought it out, and we're watching it together. She's seen it 2 or 3 times, like all of them, right? And so now I'm in the middle of watching it with my mom, which is interesting. So, anything that's a little bit brainless at night right before bed is optimal. To just like chill the heck out, right? Yeah, optimal. Well, thank you so much. Do you have like some concluding words? Anything that you wanted to say that I didn't ask about?
Oh, wow. You asked about a lot of things.
I know we went all over the place.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
and I'm sure you're the same way. Anyone listening, I believe that any big change takes small steps.
Oh,
And I know you believe that
gold,
too.
gold.
It's these big changes. I mean, I have spent years taking small steps, years. But I'll say this, it's never too late for anyone to start taking small steps. More is better, some is better than none, I'll say that.
Oh,
And so,
such truth.
a lot of people walk away from things like this and feel overwhelmed to go, I need a big change. Well, maybe you need a big change, but you're not going to get there with a big leap. That's just not going to happen.
Nope.
So that's how I would say small, healthy steps lead to big change. And I believe in that. I teach that.
Yeah, me too. There's a book called Atomic Habits.
Oh,
It's all about micro habits.
Ooh.
Micro habits, right? We just do a little bit. This week we're going to work on water. That's it. Nothing else. Just drink some water, right?
Love it.
Yeah. Micro habits of change. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll read that.
Thank you so much for being here today. I so appreciate your time and your knowledge and your insight and your heart, most of all. And we are going to have an amazing time on November 7th. So all of you watch your feeds for that, because it's going to be it's going to be fun. And it's going to be free, even better. So I know it's a value, people. Anyway, have a great day today. And again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. And we will see all of you on the next Spark Faith podcast. I really appreciate you listening in today, and watch out. We're going to continue to have some fun here. Take care. Hey, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And if you're loving on my podcast, then go ahead and like and subscribe and hit the notifications and the bells and whistles on your phone so that you know when I'm around. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook all the time. If you are interested in working with me, I offer a free explore call. It's 30 minutes. And if there's places in your health that seem stuck, or you're looking for different answers, if there's places in your faith or other parts of your mental and emotional life that just don't seem like they're getting ahead, if you're unhappy in some places of your world, let's see how we can work together. And that's what this Explore Call will do. I'm here to help you figure out how to make your best self and how to mash up again, like creating better health and faith and life and work and getting it all put together, even though we still don't have it all figured out, right? So I'd love to hear from you. The link to my schedule is right below. You can always find it on my website, Restore You, RESTORYOU. That's RESTORYOU, restoreyou.com. Talk to you soon. Take care.